Good evening, parents, family members, teachers, administrators, inductees, and my fellow students. My name is Holly Werner, and I'm the president of the Pencrest High School chapter of the National Honor Society. On behalf of our current members, it is with great pleasure that I welcome you to our annual induction ceremony. I would like to begin by introducing our guests on stage. First, please welcome our district superintendent, Dr. Eleanor DiMarino-Linden. Our assistant superintendent for curriculum and instruction, Mr. William Doherty. Our principal, Mr. Ralph Harrison. Our assistant principals, Mr. Joseph Fuhrer, David Sango, and Ms. Sharon Sweeney. And I would like to welcome our guest speaker, Ms. Deanne Shearer. As well as our faculty advisors, Ms. Lori Rice-Spring and Ms. Michelle Kelly. And I would also like to extend a special welcome to Ms. Shearer's husband, Dr. Stephen Shearer, who is joining us this evening. I'd also like to introduce my fellow officers, Vice President Jasleen Gill, Secretary Casey Biscoe, Treasurer Mackenzie Rosin, and Historian Katie Lee. Introduction to the National Honor Society is truly an extraordinary achievement, one that reflects the hard work that our new inductees have put into their time here at Pencrest, their involvement in Pencrest activities and service, and their service in the community at large. Our inductees have been identified as scholars, motivated students, and perhaps most importantly, wonderful human beings. We are very pleased to be celebrating this accomplishment with each of you, and tonight we welcome you. Last year, our NHS members served their school, local, and broader communities in a variety of ways, including fundraising for the Media Food Bank, Alex's Lemonade Stand, and the Heritage School in Ghana. Last year's members greeted parents at back-to-school night, at curriculum night, and at the Pencrest High School graduation ceremony. Our members collected holiday gifts for Rose Tree Media families via the Giving Tree Project, as well as tutoring during ninth period throughout the school year. Our members worked with the American Red Cross to sponsor 3 community blood drives and 1 student blood drive, collecting over 300 pints of blood. Our Honor Society has been recognized by the American Red Cross as a leader among student-run blood drives in southeastern Pennsylvania. Our members brought smiles to the faces of more than 50 female residents at Fair Acres as they delivered prom flowers, repurposed as floral arrangements. Finally, many National Honor Society members participated in the inaugural Pencrest Mini-Thon, helping to raise over $30,000 for childhood cancer research. It was a busy year, and with the help of our new inductees, we hope to meet the challenges of a wide variety of service projects again this year. This year, we already have sponsored 2 community blood drives. We have participated in this past Sunday's Walk to End Alzheimer's at Citizens Bank Park and have raised nearly $600 for Alzheimer's research. Our Giving Tree Project, one of our biggest projects of the year, is currently underway, and we are collecting gifts to light up the holidays for children and youth in Rose Tree Media community. If anyone in the audience this evening would like to help us with this project, please feel free to reach out to the advisors, Mrs. Rice-Spring or Mrs. Kelly. We thank you in advance for any help you might offer. Inductees, you have been invited into the National Honor Society because we know that you are the students who won't let your dedication to your school and community end just because you are now part of this service organization. Being inducted is just the beginning. Throughout the school year, there are incredible opportunities for you to make a difference in your school and community, and we are excited to have so many terrific new members to join our service efforts throughout the year. Our program will now begin with the reciting of the Pledge of Allegiance. At this time, I would like to ask everyone to please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, please join me in welcoming our string ensemble, directed by Ben Weaver. On violin, Emily Tang, Jamie DeMella, Tony Pan, and Vice Para Miswaran. On viola, Kayla Mystica and Claire Santangelo. On cello, Abel Palmer and Dana He. And on bass, Julian DeCicci. The ensemble will perform Ellis's Procession to the Cathedral by Richard Wagner and arranged by Matthew Marina. explain the selection process.
The selection process for the Pencrest chapter of the National Honor Society began last July when our candidates, having an unweighted grade point average of 3.50 or better, received an invitation to complete an activity form summarizing their service, leadership, and awards. Once the forms were completed and collected in September, the review process began with an opportunity for the entire Pencrest faculty to comment on the character of our candidates. The Faculty Council was convened to carefully review the students' activity forms, the comments from faculty, along with their own personal knowledge of each of the candidates. Scholastic achievement was no longer a point of discussion at that time since the minimum grade point requirement had been met by all candidates. The Faculty Council assessed the service, leadership, and character of each of the candidates, both individually and comparatively. When the Faculty Council agreed that a student had distinguished himself or herself in all three areas, the student was offered membership in the National Honor Society. Congratulations to our new inductees. Your acceptance speaks volumes to your scholarship, leadership, service, and character. With your passion for excellence, we will continue to make a difference in our school and community. The current members proudly welcome each and every one of you. And now, I invite Katie and Casey to light the candles and share a few remarks about the 4 pillars of the National Honor Society.
Thank you, Jasleen. Inductees to the Pencrest chapter of the National Honor Society, each of you have attributes that have led to the many successes that identified you as candidates for our society. Each of you have effectively exhibited the 4 qualities that are held in high esteem by this society: scholarship, service, leadership, and character. The 4 candles on stage each symbolize one of these qualities. I will elaborate on these qualities as Katie lights each candle. The first candle represents scholarship. Scholarship means a commitment to learning. A scholarly student is willing to spend hours reading, studying, exploring, researching, and analyzing, understanding the lasting benefits of a cultivated mind. Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding are the result of hard work, diligence, and effort. Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding provide the lamp by which we view our past and illuminate our future. Our inductees have the charge to continually expand their world through the opportunities inherent in scholarship. The second candle represents service. Service can be described as the willingness to work for the benefit of those in need without monetary compensation or recognition. Service can be performed on a daily basis in a variety of informal actions, as simple as holding the door for someone, or in more formal projects such as organized volunteer activities in the community, fundraising activities, or the sharing of one's time and energy towards a common goal. Our NHS chapter is committed to the idea of volunteering our time and abilities for the betterment of our community. The third candle represents leadership. Leadership among our members exerts a wholesome influence on our school. In taking the initiative informally in class, more formally in school activities, real leaders strive to train and aid others to attain the same objective. A leader has self-confidence and will press forward where others may hesitate. NHS-sponsored events and service projects showcase our members' abilities to lead and organize. Our inductees will have many opportunities to hone their leadership skills. The fourth candle represents character. Character is that force within each of us that distinguishes us from others. It gives us our individuality. It is the force of character that guides us through life, shaping our decisions, our actions, and our responses to those around us. Character is the product of daily striving to make the right choices. By exhibiting such qualities as respect, responsibility, trustworthiness, fairness, compassion, and citizenship, we demonstrate our strong and positive character. We are not born with character. Our character develops over a lifetime of choices and decisions and actions. Our inductees sitting among us tonight are well down the road in establishing themselves as individuals of remarkable character. And now, Mackenzie will introduce our speaker.
Our speaker tonight is very near and dear to our hearts. Mrs. Shearer was at Pencrest for 23 years and taught the entire math sequence from Algebra 1 to AP Calculus BC, a course that she developed. Any student that was lucky enough to sit in her class can attest to her kindness and love for teaching. She served for 8 years as the Building Technology Coordinator and as our National Honor Society Advisor for 13 years. As our advisor, Mrs. Shearer expanded the blood drive program at Pencrest to include platelet drives for 5 years and community blood drives for the past 10. She also worked with students on a variety of service projects, such as Relay for Life, our first ever mini-thon, charity dodgeball events, and tutoring in Chester, among others. With her tremendous involvement in the Pencrest community over the years, it is no wonder that she has been sorely missed since her retirement last year. Mrs. Shearer graduated from the University of Michigan with an undergraduate degree in math and science education and earned her master's in social work. She has 4 grown kids and 2 grandsons and is here tonight with her husband, Dr. Steve Shearer. Now, it is my pleasure to invite Mrs. Deanne Shearer to the podium to share some words with our new inductees and guests.
Thank you, Mackenzie. Good evening. Students, family and friends, faculty and administration, what a pleasure it is for me to celebrate the accomplishments of these truly talented National Honor Society inductees. Parents, take a moment tonight to pat yourselves on the back for raising such talented, hardworking young people and take pride in their accomplishments. Students, enjoy this evening and all the special honor that it brings. You have earned it. When I received the invitation from Mackenzie to speak tonight, I was happy, excited, and a little bit nervous. Being here this evening feels like coming home. While I must confess that retirement has its perks, lots of time for travel, sleeping in when I feel like it, getting more exercise, and spending time with dear friends and family, there will always be a special place in my heart for the joy I felt here at Pencrest, advising the NHS and working with students in the classroom. I really do love hanging out with teenagers, and I miss you all very much. So thank you for this opportunity to celebrate with you this evening and to share a few thoughts. I feel humbled, honored, and a bit terrified at the same time. I want to share a couple of insights that it's taken me a very long time to learn. To get us started, I want you to think for a moment about superpowers. I want all of you to close your eyes for just a moment and think about your superpowers. We all have them. Visualize your own superpowers and name them in your mind. I'll give you a moment. Close your eyes. I wonder what you came up with. Turn to someone next to you and tell them, in just a few words, one of your superpowers. Sounds like you all have a lot of superpowers. Maybe you are particularly intelligent, or maybe you have a musical talent, or maybe you're a gifted writer. Perhaps you excel in math or science. Maybe you have a terrific memory or the ability to analyze information. Perhaps you are a good friend, a talented athlete, an artist, an engaging public speaker. Maybe you speak several languages. Perhaps you are a good conversationalist. I'm sure you all came up with extraordinary superpowers that you're all very proud of. I want to suggest a couple of superpowers that might not have been the first to come to mind. I want to suggest the superpowers of authenticity, humility, and being present. These are the superpowers I've been discovering recently. I wish someone would have told me about these superpowers when I was a little younger. So let's talk about the first superpower, authenticity. In my estimation, authenticity is the ability to show up exactly as you are, removing your protective armor and being yourself, living without comparing yourself to anyone else around you, and quite simply being your true self. You have to be very powerful and courageous to master authenticity. As an example, I'm going to pick on social media for a moment because this is where I am most guilty of being my least authentic self. I'm not suggesting that we all exit out of our social media, but let's think about how we portray ourselves digitally. All I have to do is look through a few of my recent posts or photos on social media. Here I am at another Michigan football game. Here I am at the Coliseum in Rome. Here I am laughing with my grandsons. Here I am surrounded by lots of smiling friends. Is this my authentic self? Sounds more like a highlight reel. Maybe 2% of the time this is who I am, but I spend my other 98% doing pretty routine activities that aren't really social media worthy and are sometimes downright painful. The other 98% would look something like, here I am scrubbing the toilet. Here I am stuck in a traffic jam. Here I am feeling terrified about a friend's new health diagnosis. Here I am worrying whether my father with dementia will still recognize me in another year. Here I am alone on a Saturday night. Sound familiar? Social media promotes a lack of authenticity because our posts represent an incomplete reality that hides most of how we actually spend our days and who we are. And social media can lead to isolation rather than meaning and connection. We can paint a picture on social media that represents a happy, popular, successful, and involved in a million cool activities kind of self. But are people likely to connect with us around our boasts and brags and funny poses? Or are they perhaps more likely to connect with us when we share an accurate, real picture of who we are? Employing our superpower of authenticity allows others to know us and have a relationship with us. When we live daily as our authentic selves, we don't have to worry about being better than, stronger than, funnier than, smarter than, or more than anyone else. We can be happy with who we truly are, and we will have real relationships with others. So what about the superpower of humility? Humility. This is what happens when we acknowledge that we are no better than the person sitting next to us, and that no one individual is more worthy than another. Humility is putting others' needs and wants before our own. Humility is the opposite of pride, but there's a place for pride. Tonight is a night to feel proud. You have each accomplished so much. You've worked very hard, and you're being honored tonight for your tremendous efforts, for your admirable character and your leadership and service. It's great to feel proud of your accomplishments and enjoy the feeling of this unique honor of being inducted into the Pencrest National Honor Society. But after tonight, take it one step further. The next step, you see, is not about all that you have done to get to this point, but now what you will continue to do for others. Acknowledging your own accomplishments is a great thing and should fill you with pride and bring a smile to your face. But if you want more from life, find your humility and perform a kindness for someone who may not have all the talent, gifts, and good fortune that you have. For example, invite the kids sitting alone at the lunch table to join you and your friends. Pick up the trash that someone else left behind. Admit it when you've made a mistake or wronged someone else. Acknowledge your own weaknesses. Do something for someone else when no one is looking. I want to share an example of a time when I learned the value of humility. It was in the early 80s. Yes, people like me were alive back then. And running was quickly becoming a mainstream activity. Fun runs were popping up all over. I was in my mid-20s, and I searched high and low within a 50-mile radius of my home for a small hometown fun run where there might not have been too many women in my age class, affording me a shot at placing at some level in my age group and bringing home a trophy or a medal. One summer morning in 1983, I entered the Bixby Hospital 10K fun run in Adrian, Michigan. There might have been 40 or 50 runners that morning, and after registering for the race, I looked around and sized up my competition. Not too many women were present, so I thought maybe I had a shot at doing well that day. The race began, and somewhere along the second mile, I fell into a nice pace with another woman, and we struck up a conversation. You can tell just how competitive I was back in those days. I don't think real runners chat their way through a race. In any event, for the next 4 miles, we exchanged training secrets and became acquainted. This woman was about 20 years my senior and had been training faithfully, running and swimming for cross-training benefits, to perform at her best. We were running through the streets of her hometown. We paced each other and both ran a better race that day due to our camaraderie. Then, as the finish line came into view, I made a decision that I would regret to this very day. I decided that while I had made a new friend, I wasn't about to sacrifice a competitive opportunity for the sake of a new acquaintance. As I approached the finish line, I took off and crossed well ahead of my running partner. As my foot crossed the line, I realized what a knucklehead I had been. That win would have meant the world to her, in her hometown, in front of her friends and family. For me, it was an egotistical maneuver at best. I've wished many times that I could replay those final seconds of the race. I wish that I could have tapped into my superpower of humility instead of worrying about being a winner. Finally, let's think for a moment about the superpower of being present. Being present means bringing full attention and engagement to the moment in whatever you're doing, and in doing so, validating the activity. Being present means putting what's in front of you first. Being present means showing those around you that they are the most important in the moment. Being present here this evening means breathing it all in, taking in the joy and celebration of this ceremony, appreciating the person sitting next to you and the people who have shown up this evening to celebrate you. Being present means forming a memory that you can bring up another day when you want to be reminded of something very good that happened to you. Being present in our lives means being there for the best times and for the worst times. Being present means holding the hand of a blood donor and reassuring them that they're okay. Being present means listening with your ears, eyes, and heart when someone shares a special emotion or story with you. Being present means no distractions, no other thoughts, just taking it all in right now, in this moment. I recently had a great experience with being present. I was working at a church community dinner, serving food to folks who appreciated a free home-cooked meal. While I was serving up some mashed potatoes, I tried to greet each person in line with a, "Hello, how are you doing this evening?" I didn't think much of it, but later that evening, a friend came up to me and told me that a particular older gentleman pulled her aside and asked my name. He said that when I asked how he was doing, he said that he believed I was genuinely interested and he appreciated that I saw him as a special human being and worthy of attention. It's a small thing, but it was a reminder to me that we never know when simply being fully present with someone else can be a real gift. So, what do these superpowers have to do with celebrating an NHS induction? It has everything to do with all that lies ahead of you. Bringing your most authentic self in a vulnerable way that allows you to be truly humbled by others will allow you to connect with others in the most meaningful ways and hopefully Some of those connections will happen when you find yourself in service to others through NHS. When you stand next to a blood donor at the next blood drive, when you wrap and sort gifts for kids in our own community through the Giving Tree Project, when you see the faces of the elderly light up upon receiving your repurposed prom flowers at Fair Acres, these are connections that will be all the more meaningful to you when they arise from a place of humility, authenticity, and being present. Tap into those superpowers and see where it leads you with this year's Minithon and all the other great projects that are in store. My wish tonight is that a very special year awaits each of you. A year when you can bring your best self to all that you will do through NHS, and I promise you, you will always get more than you give. That's what happens. That's what service to others feels like. Congratulations, and thank you so very much for allowing me to be part of your special evening.
Thank you, Mrs. Shearer, for your inspiring remarks. On behalf of the National Honor Society, I would like to present this small token of our appreciation to you for being here with us this evening.
We will now begin the formal induction process. At this time, I would like to invite Dr. DiMarino Linden, Mr. Harrison, and Mrs. Sweeney to assist with the induction of our new members. Inductees, as your name is called, please come to the stage to receive your pin and be congratulated by our administrators. Please line up across the stage and remain in place until all new inductees have been announced. We will ask the audience, please hold your applause until all names have been called.
Lindsay Allison, Christina Balta, Ryan Brubaker, Elaine Chen, Jonathan Choi, Jason Fliegelman, Arushi Ishvar, Mackenzie Kalp, Lily Mallon, Olamide Oleanu, Yu Pan, Adam Schaefer,
Our junior inductees are Sarah Algren, Tyler Allen, Anna Barcombe, Allison Barsavches, Danielle Bernal McCracken, Tyler Blessington, Leah Bornstein, Olivia Carney, Benjamin Chang, Corey Chen, Alexander Chung, Elena Civarelli, Max Calizzo, Matthew Coulter, Kira Crowner, Allison Dean, Gabrielle D'Antonio, Timothy Dresden, Anna Farnham, Sage Forsyth, Ariana Fowler, Reese Gaborio, Mia George, Theodora Greco, Megan Gress, Jacob Haber, Nathan Post Rightly, Elizabeth Hughes, Catherine Coggy, Liba Khan, Samarth Condelwall, Emily Knapp, Claire Colmansberger, and Lillian Kuntz.
Lucas Lindenmuth, Marissa Lucente, Samantha Lyon, Brian Mackerton, Connor Meek, Kara Mullaney, Ananya Nasta, Lauren Niss, Tolani Olanii, Mary Pahides, Elena Palumba, Layla Phillips, Ashley Plick, Jennifer Plick, Shayna Polsky, Delia Quinn, Lindsay Rappold, Delaney Rauscher Adams, Ashley Rogers, Rebecca Rubin, Claire Santangelo, Eamon Scanlon, Ryan Schmidt, Ellen Schneider, Tegan Schultz, Rose Schwartz, Spencer Schwartz, Abigail Spear, Lucy Stewart, Matthew Tylek, Victoria Valone, Amanda White, Andrew Wickman, and Rory Wilmot. Congratulations and welcome to each one of you. Parents, feel free to snap a picture.
Okay, please return to your seats. Katie will now conclude our program. We ask that all current members of the Pencrest chapter of the National Honor Society stand along with our new inductees. Please join me in reciting the National Honor Society pledge, which is printed on the back of your program. I pledge to myself to uphold the high purposes of the National Honor Society, to which I have been selected. I will be true to the principles of the society. I will be loyal to my school, and I will maintain and encourage high standards of scholarship, service, leadership, and character. Please be seated. We would like to congratulate our newly inducted members of the National Honor Society. We also congratulate the families of these inductees, as you've nurtured these individuals and provided the support and inspiration for their achievements. We would like to thank Mrs. Shear for her inspirational comments, the Pencrest String Ensemble for their musical performance, and our honored guests for their attendance this evening. We invite all of you to join us in the library to celebrate the inductees with light refreshments. Thank you all for joining us tonight, and have a great evening.